so defeated.
Ja, jetzt fahre ich gerade heim.
I'm now on the train, making my way back
Ja, von Freiburg nach Basel und dann von Basel nach Basel.
to Potsdam, and I feel beat. I feel very discouraged and just upset that I didn't get much achieved today.
Nächster Halt, Bad Krotzingen. Ausstieg rechts.
I feel like I didn't get much accomplished today.
Gott sei Dank los machen.
When you couple that with the fact that I have to walk past this asshole's workplace, and just be reminded of
Naja,
his
überleg doch mal.
insolence
Ja, die tapfer Mutter halt.
on a daily,
Hat angekehrt, wenn nichts, gell?
on a regular basis. And thank you. It's very
Ja, das
discouraging,
war wieder geschenkt.
and I feel like I'm not quite sure how
Ja, das noch
how to move forward. If I should just like give up. It's not really in me to give up, but I feel very discouraged and defeated. If I mean, I still have a month and a half, right? So, or maybe like a month, because I can't keep up a continued assault. You know, I can't keep up a continual offense. At some point, I'm gonna have to pay attention to the other things that demand my attention, and I can't keep at this, you know, going to the different agencies, and I feel really affected, and I'm reminded that, you know, this is life. This is life. Life is about struggling. To live is to struggle, and to live is to be reminded of death, and to live is to continually, you know, engage in strategic thinking and fighting. This is what it means to live, and so I suppose I'm alive. I suppose I'm alive, and I should relish that. You know, relish the fact that I'm alive. I should relish the fact that I'm alive, and that I, you know, have kept my word to Carolyn to, you know, have her see her father, like, you know, hopefully she will look back at this and think and remember or be reminded that I exhausted, you know, this I exhausted her curiosity and her desire to know. I exhausted my expenses. I exhausted myself, my energies. I don't find this in any way. I find this shameful from my perspective, because my ego is forced to engage with his. I find that shameful because I tend to be a person who's very who tries to mute my ego, you know, to mute it, to put it under submission, to subdue it. And I guess that's what I'm doing, but I am reminded that I'm very much an ego, not egocentric, but an egoistic human being who has desires to appear, you know, in a good light and not to look downtrodden or not to accept defeat. We all have this, right? And this is more than just like me engaging with this guy. It's an engagement with myself. You know, it's kind of like an engagement with the way I think, with what's right and what's wrong. You know, I'm alluding to how the woman said to me that it's within my daughter's right to know where her father lives, and that does not appear as harassing. And you know, it was a unique perspective, but at the same time, I'm in a culture that's very litigative. Is that even a word? It's very legal minded, and in the sense that people often sue to, you know, bring about change, because money is the one thing that, you know, gets anyone's attention. And and so because of this, I hesitate to do anything that's considered against the law. Also being very like sensitive to my position as an outsider, you know, and I'm just representing my daughter. I'm not her. And I've been getting fight, and it's quite interesting. You know, you would think that an agency that, like a lab that supplies testing like as a service, would, you know, answer an email that is requesting such service or asking about it, and you'd expect the agency to be like, yeah, we offer this service, and you know, come by whenever, when, you know, here's an appointment. No such thing. In fact, it's been very hard to find English speaking people. I didn't think it would be this hard. I thought definitely in the interior, in Germany's interior, in Bavaria, that was more you know, likely. And when I, you know, came across that, didn't say too much. I always thought, oh, when I get to Freiburg, it'll be better, it'll be different. And then here I am, and so many people do not speak English. And like I said yesterday, that woman was like shouting at me and saying, speak German. And I'm like, I just got here, give me a minute, you know. But the thought is, like, you're an outsider in many ways, not just linguistically, in appearances, in demeanor, in, you know, comportment, all, you know, in every way you're reminded, you know, the looks, when you're walking, the way you walk differently from other people, the way your heels click. I don't know, I'm constantly reminded that I'm not from here, and I don't really need to know. I don't really need to be reminded. I know. But yeah, I'm just finding it very difficult to be in that place where, like, I'm, as a parent, where I represent a child's rights and you know, communication. This has been particularly difficult because I'm representing her communication, but I'm also faltering at it because my ego is getting in the way. I thought, you know, I was I had matured to past certain things, and my ego gets in the way big time. My ego wants to say, I don't want to reach out to this person and remind him, you know, like, you know, you may try to give the impression that you don't want to be contacted, but neither do I want to contact you, you know. And then there's the fact that Carolyn is conflicted. I know she's conflicted. She said, Mom, please don't reach, she didn't say please don't reach out. She said, please ignore him and take him to court. And let's sue him. And that was kind of like an eye-opener. I was like, oh my God, I don't like my daughter, like, you know, looking at the world in this way. I'm so young. Anyway, but she said, take him to court, and then she said, ignore him. And then the next day she said, well, you don't always listen to me, right? She's like, parents shouldn't always listen to their kids. Sometimes kids say things and parents shouldn't listen to them. So I knew this was her form of backtracking. she feels like she hates her dad. She writes that she hates him, but inside the hope is still being protected. You can see the kind of flames, reignite every day. And, I guess as she processes it, she tells herself she doesn't care. She hates him, but then, after that wanes, she's like, actually, I do care. Don't listen to me. So, that's been interesting. It's been interesting, and it's good to see that I'm not the only one who changes my mind. I'm not the only one who struggles with conflict. And I'm trying my best to not stay defeated and to be to be stable, to be mentally healthy, to not let this overwhelm me and come over me and to hurt. Because if there's anything to be said about humans, is that we wince from pain, and most of us try to work away from it. Our great levels of comfort afforded to us have been largely by our reluctance to deal with pain in its very many forms. Something as simple as washing the dishes. We've invented the dishwasher. It's been a constant grind at comfort and placating the self. And so no one says, oh, this is not working out for us, so let's keep it not working out for us. Someone said, oh, I want cold food, and invented. And well, many people may have contributed to inventions like the refrigerator and something like the television. Many people, it wasn't just one guy who said it, but still the idea is that, the collective thought was, we don't like the way things are, we're going to change it. And this is where I feel kind of conflicted, because it's this is super shiny. I feel conflicted in that I want to be comfortable. I want to be comfortable. I want to be placated. I don't necessarily want to, push my body and my mind one into interacting with this person, but two into also being in an unstable place. I don't want to be, putting myself in a position that makes me unstable, because so many things are already dependent on me, and I feel the pressure of, getting up every morning, making breakfast, doing different things, trying to be there for my daughter, not being negative, which I tend to be quite pessimistic, which means I'm quite optimistic actually. But yeah, just the fighting the pessimism, fighting the build up, the stress build up, which is why I said it was a violent act. It is very much a violent act, this her father's silence, because what it is doing is it's bringing about stress in me, and I kind of, someone like me who works assiduously towards resolution and discuss, finding out what the problem is with things and where in the pipelines the problem lies, how can we fix it. For me, this is very irritating, to be met with silence and malice and this kind of, I'm not talking to you and you piss me off and that kind of thing. I ain't have no time for that. And just it frustrates me, and so it is an act of violence, because what happens in my body and what I feel happening in my body when I'm confronted with people like this and behavior like this, I feel very much like my blood pressure rises, and this could not be good to me on the in the somatic sense. It couldn't be good for my body to be experiencing such chronic stress over time, you know, and I can feel it, you know. I whenever I feel the urgent need to go running, I know that I'm unhealthy and that my body is telling me, put me first, you know, prioritize this, prioritize your health, because you know, of what's happening. And so it very much is an act of violence, because if I were to, you know, keel over as a result of this stress, my daughter would be left without a mom. I would, and even if I survived whatever came, that would be even worse, because I would require healthcare. My daughter would require more help. Like it is such an assault on the body, you know, to take care of something that a man owes, you know, his to look about human rights. That's basically what I'm doing, to look about my daughter's human rights, to make sure to enforce those things, and the law should be enforcing it. Instead, I'm like running around getting the feeling that people, you know, are tired of me, or, you know, getting the feeling that people who don't know what to say, you know, get frustrated and take it out on me. Or who don't know how to say it, right? And it's so funny how in that one section of the Jugendamt, how nice and willing to work the people were. At the same time, they kept discussing things between themselves. So I supplied them with the problem, and they kept back and forthing in German between themselves. So they refused to, and even though they're trying to sort it out, they're not acknowledging that I am the originator of the question, you know? The question comes from me. I am the originator. And so to ignore my presence and my question, and to build like a litany of other sub questions that then you ask yourselves and totally ignore the person. Something similar happened when I was when I gave birth to when my son died. I knew my son had died. I went to see the doctor. I had called prior. She said, it's all in your head. You're fine. Just come in. Let's do a check, right? I said, I need to see. He's not moving. When I turn on the side, he just slumps. I know he's dead. Something's happening. Even when he was dying, I knew it. And oh my God, I just realized I hadn't dealt with that, you know? Like emotionally, that causes me a lot of pain. Anyway, I realized that he had died, and she was not convinced, but she didn't even see me, so how can you not be convinced, right? Anyway, she's like, oh, it's trepidation, you know, it's, you know, trimester anxiety, whatever, third trimester anxiety. And she trumped it up to this, like, you know, some like, you know, when doctors especially don't believe what it is that you're saying, and you know better because it's your body, it's happening to you. I mean, we're not that far in science, people. We're not that far in science. I mean, I know we've taken great leaps and bounds, but even the word science is, oh my God, so troublesome too, right? Science has said so many evil and crazy things in the past. I mean, come on. You know, they throw it around in America with some kind of, you know, save all word, like, you know, oh, it's so, if you're scientific minded, you're decent. No, science has been used by politicians, anyway, I digress. The whole point is some scientists tend to be very unresponsive to what the patient is saying, right? Or what the things before them. Sometimes scientists try to fit their own narrative by forcing the information down this, you know, in this place, in their bias, in the direction of their bias. They're not, you know, just look at the data raw. So a woman goes to you and says, doctor, I feel like I'm losing my baby. I feel like this and that and whatever is happening. And the doctor answers and says, you know, there are a lot of, that woman who just passed me is pregnant. And I noticed there have been so many pregnant people around here. German population is going strong. Maybe that's why they're not really caring about my one kid. They're like, we got enough over here. Anyway, like everybody here has a baby. Everyone I've seen. every woman has had like a small kid or a baby. I've seen it. Okay, this is not true. It's not everybody, but the vast majority, especially where I live, it's absolutely insane. Anyway, so the doctor just like, just dismisses what you're saying. It's happening to you. You hired the doctor. That's their purpose in the world, to fix your problems. That's what they set out to do, right? When they signed up and took the hippocampus, the hippopotamus. I don't know why I always think of hippopotamus whenever I think of the hippocampus swear or whatever. I swear to protect the life of, or to put the life of people above, I don't know, everything. And then she's like, it's not, the life is on jeopardy. I'm gonna go by just like what I tell all my patients, you're fine, blah, blah, blah. It turned out my son was dead. So when I went to the doctor, the way they behaved, they did not put what I was saying first. They did not, in fact, they looked in my stomach via echo, right, ultrasound, and they discussed among themselves what was happening. And I felt like such a third party. So they were prioritizing their own self. It was a dismissal of me who went to them, right? I know it was at one of those schools. It was at UWI, the University of the West Indies in Jamaica. And it's a learning institution, right? So these are people who are like learning about this. But not once did these losers look at me and say, oh my goodness, I'm going to speak to you alone. We can't confirm your fears. Looks like your child is deceased, right? Not once. And after their nonsense, when I said, what's happening there? And they were like, give us a second. And they're like taking measurements, putting, and then they're going to address me and say, yeah, he's not moving. There's no heartbeat. Like way after their stinking measurements. And so I learned from then that people work like this. They're different. It's not even like scales. They're different degrees. It's not even just degrees. And this is a matter that's also perspective bound, right? Or perspective based. It's as if priority is given in terms of degrees, right? So first degree is the self, right? So I see something and everything to me, I'm going to prioritize information for myself. You're the second, my interlocutor, or the person I'm speaking to, or the person I know, the person I'm speaking to, the person who acknowledges what I'm saying, or is like the listener, the receiver. This is the second degree, right? So the two women put themselves in positions of first degree, second degree, and I was third degree. Me who came with a problem. So they and you find this often this is a treatment of people who are poor, people who don't have, who are not on the highest rung of the social status ladder, right? They're relegated, to the back. Like you could be. This is how they view bodies in war. This is how they view bodies. Putin, go fight. As if these people don't have families. As if these people don't have a sense of consciousness, that is heightened, right? It's absolutely crazy. As if these people don't have a sense of value and belonging. It's just messed up. Anyway, I see that there are two guys following me, and I feel very weird about it. So it's as if they want to say You don't exist. You don't, matter. I'm checking these guys out while I'm talking. You don't exist. You don't matter because you're third degree, right? And like, I am not in that shit. Just really, really pissed off. So, anyway, I just oh,